Right, so we've moved along a little bit here, haven't we, Jenny?
Get it right. Ogle.
Don't give away my surname.
Oh, sorry.
So, one of the questions that I know is going to be asked is, you've got yourself quite a nice little community going down here. You've got yourself a few allotments. How did it all start? Because I know that if I was thinking of doing something similar in Watford, I know that you're going to be meeting up with Mick, and Mick said where he lives, he's already given the idea out a little bit, and there's people saying, "Oh, how do we get going? What would be the first move?" So how did it all start?
Okay. Well, I live in an area in Dunmow that is mainly social housing. I happen to own my house, but all of the houses around my road are social housing,
Right.
By housing associations. And along the back of my garden, there was one garden that was completely derelict, completely overgrown. And my garden's only little, but this one goes all the way along the back of all the gardens on my side of the road. It goes all the way along the back, so it's a long garden. So I'd been threatening for a number of years to get in there and dig it over. I'd got permission. They said, yeah, you could do it because we're never using it. So...
is it owned by the social housing?
It's owned by social housing, but it's occupied by tenants.
Right.
And they've been in there at least 12 years, this particular family. And they said, yes, just take it over. And I said, well, look, if I do it, I'll give you some veg, you can have it. And they said, we don't really eat veg. And I said, okay, that's fine. If you don't mind then, I'll just produce stuff. And if there's anything you want, just take it when it's ready. And if not, all right. So anyway, so I got back. I went to Kashmir in September. I think we talked about this briefly. I was inspired by, even though it was in a war zone at the time, I was inspired by how many people were managing to grow stuff. And it made them fully self-sufficient, which was amazing. And despite there being a siege, they could all feed each other and feed themselves. There was a great community, and that was really what got them through the tough times. So I thought, it's really time for us to do this. There's so time for us to do this because, our food is adulterated. We eat industrial food. We don't know where it comes from. People are locked in their homes, watching screens all day and night. They're getting no vitamin D on their skin, they're not getting any exercise, people are spending a fortune on food that they don't need to. If they just grew a little bit in their garden, they'd supplement their income very easily. And, if we could get people in gardens, then it would create community. So, valiantly, in October, I went out there in the back with my with my tools, to try and tame this jungle. And I just had a massive pile of bramble and weeds and stuff. Fortunately, it was October, so they weren't still growing. Then over the winter, I just kind of put my fork in the ground and dragged out as many roots as I could find until it froze in January. And then in January, I put an ad in the paper. Not an ad. I had a newspaper write an article about me. I sent the local newspaper over the brief. I told them what we were doing in writing, and they interviewed me on the phone, and then we put a little article in, and almost immediately I had 3 people join me. They wanted to come in the gardens, and these people were people in flats, people that had, they were a bit depressed, stuck at home all day on their own, wanted to come out and do something and join a community. And in the freezing cold month of January, we were in the garden pulling out roots, lighting a bonfire, drinking hot chocolate, building a cold frame out of wood that I'd just found, and then it was seedlings time, and they would come round and they'd help. We built what's called no-dig garden beds, so we did cardboard and then all sorts of organic matter sandwiched along the top, and then you just have to wait a couple of months for it to rot down, and then that's your bed. So we didn't have to dig the clay soil to plant in clay. We're actually planting in organic matter on top of the soil. Then those 3 initial volunteers fell away, and then I had more volunteers, and then the project got bigger, and then I met Rob, who's my co-partner in this. He's a horticulturalist, and he came along to a meetup group, because I also advertised on Meetup. It was called, and it is called, Vegetable Growing in Small Spaces.
Right, okay.
So it originally started with just my front garden, which is a very small space, and I had people come around to see what they could grow in small spaces. And then I put this another meeting out, and then Rob joined me from a horticultural background, and then I had a couple of other people come along, and then suddenly the word started to spread. We got a Facebook page. So before you know it, this little garden has turned into a project where what we're doing here is we're kind of creating a community on
the allotments. Yeah.
So that we can then start all learning together how to grow food, and then we're in a position to go to other people's gardens and grow food in other people's gardens.
Yeah.
We were given a garden way back in February, I think, and I said we won't be able to get in there till the end of March. But then when my other volunteers left, dispersed, and we started, and then this was growing, and we just had to get on top of this allotment. So we kind of thought, right, this will be our hub. This is where we'll operate from. And then once we've got our community really going, we can send little teams out to gardens.
Yeah.
And we can just get them going. So
Brilliant.
really, the moral of the story is go and do it.
And build a community.
Just do it. Just get in a garden. Find somebody who's got a garden that's really ruined and they might like some help with, and ask them if it's okay for you to have a corner, a quarter, a half, whatever, to grow vegetables in, and go and do it. Get your wife, husband, kids, whatever involved to start with, and then put some adverts in papers, or get the paper to write an article about you, and start networking, start talking to people, friends, family, anyone nearby, and just say, what do you fancy? I mean, for me, the motivation is a little political, because for me, it's about reclaiming our power. It's about stopping giving it away to corporations.
Yeah.
About, trusting doctors, trusting corporations to feed us. We don't know what they're doing to our food, and even if it is classified organic, it's a fortune to buy, whereas this stuff costs us nothing.
This is health food.
This is food that's healthy. Yeah. And the other amazing thing about the garden at the bottom of my garden here is it's cost me nothing.
Yeah.
Because everything we've found, we've snaffled from somewhere. Excuse me. We've got 5 celeries left over. Where should we put them? Is there a spot here, or is that's not ours. That's not ours. They're so keen. They want to garden everyone's plots. Yeah. You could stick it here next to this white tunnel. Yeah. Just here.
So basically, if you can find a bit of land, I'm just thinking, like my mum's got a massive greenhouse.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
And she doesn't use a bit of land. Actually, that could really, it's lawn, but it's not really lawn. It can be turned into something easily turned into a vegetable plot and grow there.
Yeah. It's amazing what you can do with a little bit of goodwill. And as I've kept my ears and eyes open about building this garden and this community, I've got people offering grass clippings and compost and all kinds of things. Compost, the actual bin itself, and animal droppings. I've got animal droppings. People say, do you want our animal droppings and rotten hay? I said, yeah, I'll have it. Anything, I've been down the high street asking people for coffee grouts and veg peelings. Anything really.
Yeah, coffee grouts are good, aren't they, apparently, yeah.
Fabulous. And I've been down to Travis Perkins, and I've asked them for some plastic for our greenhouse.
Right.
And some cardboard, it's just all waste stuff. They're just throwing it away.
Yeah.
So, and then I snaffle bits of wood. If I see a carpenter anywhere working on a site, have you got any wood?
Don't ask, you don't get.
No, have you got any wood? And even on the way here tonight, because we were talking about having this social area on this plot, I was in my van, and I just literally pulled out of my road and round the corner, and there was this major barbecue unit, like not a gas one, just an old metal thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I could have that. So I went forward, and then I sort of reversed up, knocked on the door, and what do you want to do with this thing? Oh, we're just leaving it for the Tin Man. I said, well, I'll have it. Yeah, take it. Yeah. So anywhere you see stuff that people don't want, it's really valuable to the gardener.
Yeah. No, definitely. Excellent. Great start, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you could just get this happening all over the country, I think there's so much land that could be used to grow food if people just got motivated to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, we could be self-sufficient.
Yeah. And you've got to understand as well that even people without any land can get in the land and garden.
Yeah.
All they need is to join a project like this,
Yeah.
where they can take part, take some food home. We've had some food that we've shared with our workers already, our volunteers.
Yeah.
You know, and like we've had all sorts off of here. Like that, we had a big glut of strawberries 2 weeks ago, and like,
As you do.
you know, they didn't see the light of day.
Fabulous. Well, thanks ever so much for sharing this with you. With me, I'm going to get it up on YouTube as I said I would, and let's see if we can turn it into a bit of a craze.
Brilliant, yeah, I'd love
That'd
to.
be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, really great.
Fabulous. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Sorry for the Jenny. You can't get the star.